feel like I've been waiting for this one for months. I might even have ordered it last year, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's finally arrived now. And over the years, I've reviewed plenty of clocks that use Nixie tubes. This one, well, it's another clock, but just wait and see. First off, got to say, very professionally packaged. Sometimes it can make a difference if you're going to send something as a gift, whether it comes in a brown cardboard box or something a little bit more like this. You'll find a USB power adapter in the box. Of course, it's the usual 5 volts. It's a 1 amp output on this, but it's got a 2-pin plug, so I'm just going to swap it out for one of my own. The socket on the clock itself is USB-C. Right, now this is what the digits of the clock are going to be displayed on. These are tiny LCD IPS panels. The screen on these measures 3 centimeters diagonally across. And once this protective film is removed, you can see they've got a nice matte finish. There are 6 of these in total, 1 for each digit on the clock. Now the base that they plug into feels well constructed. It's got a metal frame around the outside and plastic panels on the top and the bottom. So assembly is just a matter of slotting the 6 display panels into the base, being careful not to get fingerprints on the screens, and then they're covered up with these glass domes. There's a key in the bottom of these that aligns with the appropriate slot on the base. And with that done, it's just now a matter of plugging in the power. And here's something you don't see every day, 6 synchronized boot screens on a clock. But that looks pretty cool once it's booted up, although my first job here is to set the time. We'll come back to it more in a moment. So all the controls are on the top right at the back there. Pressing the power button turns off the display but doesn't completely power off the clock. It doesn't reboot it. But moving on, pressing the mode button brings up this menu, which is largely self-explanatory, and it makes setting the date and time very easy. So many of the clocks that I bought in the past have pages and pages of cryptic options only described by a digit rather than a word, and you have to refer back to a poorly translated manual to figure out what you're doing. So it's nice to see something this simple for a change. And I should mention that the time and all the settings are retained by a battery backup, and there's an Allen key provided in the box that enables you to access the button cell, which is located underneath the top Perspex cover. To display the date, you press the left arrow button, and then you press it again to get back to the time. But let's just look at it for a moment, because the effect looks pretty good on camera, but in person it really is quite convincing. Of course, that is as long as you're looking at the clock face on. If you go off axis, the illusion is shattered. But you may be wondering, why not just get a proper Nixie clock instead? Well, of course I have, plenty of times. But this does something that none of my other clocks can do. You can change that display. So this one is called Punk, and it's one of 3 options that are available inside the clock. The third one being this, which I think is supposed to resemble stenciled numbers. My personal favourite, though, is definitely the Nixie clock lookalike. Now you may have spotted that on the reverse of each display is an RGB LED. The placement of these means that they don't shine onto or obscure the display. Instead, they illuminate everything that's behind them. So you get the best results by putting the clock up against a light coloured wall. Now I know these things divide opinion, so thankfully, if you want, they can be turned off. But there are some other options in here as well. For example, you can adjust the brightness of the LEDs. I've got to mention though that the screen brightness itself can't be altered, that's just set. But if we go through some of the other settings for these LEDs, well, rainbow mode, that one cycles through the colours with all the panels synchronised together. And then there's chase mode, which washes colours across from the left to the right. There's breath mode, which I think should probably be breathe mode, which pulses a single colour of your choosing. And then finally, you can adjust the speed of each of these effects from 1 through to 9, or pleasant through to extremely irritating. Personally, I prefer to put it into the chase mode and have the speed set to minimum. But hey, in true shopping channel fashion, that's not all. If you connect the clock's USB port up to a computer that's running Windows and download the appropriate software package, you have access to a further 20 or so different designs that you can upload to the clock. Now once uploaded, the new display will appear in position number 3 that's labelled DIY under the Style menu. And as well as swapping out all the digits, if you go and look at the date display, sometimes you'll find that the text boxes that were on there have been overwritten with other images as well. To me though, this Nixie display looks even more realistic than the one that's built in. But I'm going to go through a few more Well, I mentioned that you can only upload one custom display to the device at a time, but it does get retained by the clock even after a full power cycle. But yet again, that's not all, because you aren't limited just to the options that you've got provided. You can also create and upload your own custom displays. And it's incredibly easy to do this. You just have to look for the folder that the application resides in. In there, you'll find a folder labeled IMG. In there, you'll find some digits. Delete the ones that you don't want to replace them with your own. Now, the files that you create, the images, have to be the exact same specification as the original, so a resolution of 135 by 240, file type BMP, bit depth 24. So once you've created the digits that you want to replace in the clock, then label those up as 0 through to 9, put them in that folder, click Compile Image in the application, and then click Upload. So here's my first attempt. And yes, it does need some work. I think those digits could benefit from being darker, perhaps if they were blue as well. But you get the idea. You can have your own personalised clock display. And I should mention that this device will retain your custom display until you override it with a different one. Yes, even after a power cycle. Here's another one I made, and this was just by using a large character from a font for each image. It took all of 10 minutes. Although, again, it would look better with a black background rather than a grey one. But you're only limited by your imagination and what you can fit on that display. It might make a novel gift if you were to load it up, say, with a load of custom digits before wrapping it up and giving it to someone. You only need 10 photos to create your own custom clock. So to round this up, yes, I've shown everything it does now. It doesn't dim at night. It doesn't have an alarm. It doesn't automatically set the time. And yes, I do wish the USB port was located on the back rather than the side. Now, at the time I'm putting this video together, these are going for around 110 to 150 US dollars or 80 to 110 pounds. Now, you'll find affiliated links in the video description. I did buy my own, but if you do click through there and buy one because you like what you've seen, then I will get a bit of commission for each one from whichever retailer you choose. But anyway, that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.